Good afternoon, good morning everybody. The music in the background is Above Reason. It's a remix of video game song. My name is Professor Rich, also known as Teacher Rich. Supposedly, I teach English, and today we're going to look at a very important topic in English in particular, and in British English even more so. Hey, but it is important in the United States also. Being polite, it's a big thing in the Anglosphere. The Anglosphere. What's the Anglosphere? Anyone know? So, without further ado, let's look at today's material, which of course I have completely forgot to load up. That was a good one, Rich. Today we are looking at politeness. My camera looks a little bit dark. Tell me if my camera is dark. And please do like the stream, like the scream. You can like the stream or like the scream, whatever you particularly feel like doing as we get into an English class. And that's right, now I have my lovely colourful box there in the bottom right with the lovely colours. Last week I had a vote and 93% said they liked the colours, so we're staying with them. It's being polite, everybody. And of course, what you are asking yourself is, what does being polite have to do with flowers and boxing gloves? We shall find out. We shall indeed find out. Ashley Chen says it's a bit dark. Okay, let me try changing that a little bit. Of course, now it's probably going to go way too bright, because that is, of course, the way things go. Yes, it is. Has that actually made any difference? I can't even tell, because it's too small. Basically the same. Wonderful. Okay, I'm just going to do that. Cheesy way of doing it, but okay. So there you go, folks. This is what we are looking at today. Being polite. Is politeness important in all cultures? Is it important in yours? Hello to Daisy Lee. Hello, hello, Sanjean. Ashley, Julia, Nipa, Tamira, Zoira, Pili, Manuel Gordillo, Tamira. Again, Tatiana. How are you, Tatiana? Anawat, hello. Domenico Fauci, hello. Vladimir, hello. And Rosa Mateo, hello. Being polite. So today we're going to review why it's important to be polite. We're going to compare polite and impolite phrases. We are going to say what makes things polite in English. What makes things polite in English? And we're going to practice ordering phrases in order of politeness, where you decide, what do you think is the most polite phrase and the least polite phrase in a list? That's right. So, why is it important to be polite? Why is it important to be polite? Answers in the chat. If you are watching the live stream, please interact with the chat. that is over there on PC and laptop, and down below on mobile phone and tablet. Why is it important to be polite? I'm going to take a look at what you guys say in the chat, and then I will show you my ideas. Anawat says it avoids conflict. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, 10 points, Anawat. I put avoids fights, so I used slightly more colloquial language. Maria del Carmen, good evening. Everyone do smash that like button. Smash that like button. Daisy says it's important to be polite to others because what you say indicates your background. Indicates your background. Is that a ding, 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 ding? I think it is. So, indicates your background. That has part of two of the things that I've put, but it's not exactly either thing. But it's a very good point. And I think, yes, actually, what you find is often people who are very well educated do tend to be more polite. Not always, though. Sometimes they're less polite. A soft shoulder turns away wrath, says the Bible. I don't know that one. Respecting people is important. Ding, 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 ding. Well done. Good job. Yeah, respecting people is important, Sonia. Well done. It's easier to build relationships, says Anawat. Be polite as not to hurt other people. Not to hurt other people. Am I going to say that? Yeah, I'm going to put that. So not to hurt other people. Kindness is what I put. Well done, Tamira. And well done, Anawat. Oh yeah, Domenico is talking about the horrendous weather conditions in the Mediterranean at the moment. And everyone's talking about that right now. Sounds terrible. Really terrible. Respect. Yes, respect is there as well. So let me show you some other things I have here. I have sets a positive example. So if you're polite, then younger people or people who respect you will also be polite. It shows maturity. You're not being childish, but you're showing respect to someone. And it invites cooperation. By showing someone respect and being polite to them, then it's like you're saying, hey, work with me. Work with me. Let's work together. Now, let's play devil's advocate. What does it mean to play devil's advocate? It means we're going to argue the opposite side. Play devil's advocate. So what are the negative things about being too polite? Do you have any comments about the negative things of being too polite? That's right, Romelia. So Romelia just gave a good definition of play devil's advocate, which is support the opposite side for the sake of argument. So I want to talk about what are the negative things about being polite. Yes, Domenico Lafauci and also Pili C, you said people may take advantage of you. And what I'm going to put there is I put weak ? So if you're overly polite, someone may take advantage of that. Daisy has said being polite to annoying people might kill your brain cells. Yeah, you know, what I would say about that, Daisy, is kind of everyone can be polite to their friends. But only a real gentleman or lady can be polite to their enemies. Is it not so? By the way, that's not my perspective necessarily. I'm just presenting it as an idea. Some people might think you're weak, says Sanjiang. That's right. That's exactly what I've put there. So Zoya said man-pleasing, not being able to say no. That's very similar to something I put. I put insincere. So a lot of Spanish people, sorry, Manuel, it's a generalization, but in Valencia, let's say, a lot of Valencians, while I lived there, they considered British people to be insincere because they're always saying, sorry, 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 sorry. But as they said, or as my Spanish friend said at the time, you always say sorry, but not have sorry. Always say sorry, but not have sorry. Hypocrisy. Yeah, something like that. Deceitful, perhaps. So no one seems to be getting the other things that I'm saying. Maria del Carmen said overperformance. Interesting. Looks ridiculous and pretentious when you're too polite. Beg your pardon. So, less clear. Overthinking. And it's delay. It's kind of similar to overthinking. So, think about it. If there's a fire in the building, what do you say? You're in a building, lots of people, you see a fire and you say, excuse me, everybody, if you don't mind, I need to raise an important issue. There appears to be what might be a fire, and if you could please follow me towards the nearest fire exit, if you wouldn't mind. Is that what you say when you see a fire? Or do you say, fire, fire, get out, go, fire? Yes, Daisy, I mean, it takes time. It takes time. And in some situations, in some situations, you don't have time. So we need to be just direct, don't we? We need to say, go, 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 go. None of this, could you please, and all that stuff, right? So, obviously, there's a balance, but a lot of the time, being polite is very important, especially in English. I'm going to show you some impolite phrases and some polite versions of those phrases. These are phrases 1 to 5 with the polite versions A to E. I would like you to match the impolite phrases 1 to 5 with the polite phrases A to E. You have 3 minutes. I really need to sort out a timer, eh? I will do it. The problem is there's no native timer in Windows that's any good. It's just not very good. So, yeah. So we're matching. Another thing I need constantly there to be a thing which tells you what the task is. Match the impolite phrases to the polite phrases. Being impolite is sometimes not a bad thing, right? Says Nipa. Yep. If someone steals your mobile phone, then there's no need to be like, excuse me, my good sir, please stop running. And if you wouldn't mind, I'd much appreciate it if you returned to me what appears to be my property. And by that time, the thief is long gone. So actually what we say is, stop, thief, stop him. And then you run and take him down. I'm not recommending to do that. But hey, if someone stole my phone, I would run and take them down. Promise you that. Try it. I'll show you. Hundred. Smash that like button. We've got 24 viewers and 16 likes. I don't like those mathematics, Watson. Right, so let's see what we've got here. Have a few interesting answers in from well done, Tamira, Zoya, Nipa. Excellent, good work. Let's see. So we have make me a coffee, C. Listen to the pronunciation. Could you make me a coffee? Mom, could you make me a coffee? Okay. Number 2, I want your chair. Sorry, are you using this chair? It's interesting, that one, because are you using this chair? It doesn't even tell the person that I need it, but of course it tells the person I need it. You see? Sometimes you have to read into the real message. Sorry, are you using this chair? Oh, no. Oh, okay. I'll take the chair, okay. Sorry, my mic just buzzed. Not good. I think I need a new cable, maybe. All right, number 3. This soup is cold. This soup seems to be a little bit cold. I hate tea. I don't really like tea. I don't really like tea. See, I understand what you're saying, Daisy. That's because in Vietnam there's the motorbike thieves, which is a bit different, isn't it? But I think it's different for women, honestly, as well. I'm kind of big. I'm not massive, not like 6'7" heavyweight or anything, but I'm pretty big compared to like Vietnamese guys as well. So I think if I rugby tackle someone on a motorbike, they're going down. And for my phone, I would do that, but I'm not recommending it. It's just in my particular take. Hey, if someone steals my cup of tea, that's okay. You can have my tea. Someone steals my wallet, okay, maybe. You steal my phone, and you have to go down. I cannot allow that. You will go down. You made a mistake. Some mistakes were made. So if you look at these different phrases, you'll see that each of them involves a different way of being polite. These are all different ways that we can be polite in English. They all involve a slightly different transformation. So what are the ways that we can be polite in English? And I'm going to say, yes, obviously intonation. So intonation, I'll give you, intonation is massive. I mean, so big, isn't it? Like, sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry about that. Right? Versus, I'm really sorry about that. Or, I'm really sorry about that. Intonation makes a big difference. Thank you. Oh, thanks. So intonation's pretty important, right? Oh, I'm so happy for your incredible help. It was the most important. You did such good work. Okay. Yeah, intonation's important, right? How to apologize properly. What's the situation, Pallavi? Tell me the situation. Give me an example situation and I'll tell you the way to apologize, because there are different levels of apology for different things. So here's some of the things that you can do. You can use modals, you can use hedging, you can use the passive, you can use implication, and you can avoid negative words. And if you look at all these things that we had before, which I don't know why I seem to have not completed these materials, but you'll see that each of these things is an example of each of these above. Can you see which one is which? Can you see where these relate? If a teacher's upset, I would be careful about that, Pallavi, reading between the lines. I think just keep it professional and just say, maybe an email. Look, I'm sorry about ... I will do my best to make sure it doesn't happen again. Best regards. Thank you. Pallavi. Email. Okay. Because there's a possibility the teacher has just moved on. Anyway, teachers have lots of things going on. So I would say don't make a big deal out of it. Just fire off a quick email and don't go overboard, right? Just be sincere, apology, done. And then they'll come back and go, no problem, bomb, and it's over. Unless you had a fight in class with another student, in which case, well, they'll tell you what to do because that is an institutional disciplinary thingy. Yeah, so let's have a look at these. So we got using modals. Could you make me a coffee? Hedging, I think, is the soup seems, yeah. Using the passive was some mistakes were made. Implication is are you using this chair? And avoiding negative words is I don't really like tea. Is that clear to everyone? Do you have any questions about any of those things? He doesn't look at emails. If he doesn't look at emails, what kind of... Difficult, actually. But if you can find a time to have a few minutes one-to-one, then you can say something. But maybe you don't need to. Maybe it's best you just move on. Tamara says, what does implication mean? So implication is imply. It means you indicate without stating directly. So we indicate something about a free chair, but we don't say, I want your chair. We say, are you using that chair? Another example is if you want to borrow a pen, you say to someone, oh, do you have a spare pen? Do you have a spare pen? Now notice, I don't say, can I borrow a pen? Can I have your pen? I say, do you have a spare pen? And there's an implication that I need a spare pen, but I don't actually ask. Because if I ask, maybe you have to refuse. Whereas if I say, do you have a spare pen? You can say, no, sorry, I don't. And maybe you do have a spare pen, but you don't want to lend me one, right? So that's implication. It's like we're asking about a different thing, but we understand really what we're asking about. Yeah, of course, that's fine, Daisy. Is this occupied? It's absolutely fine. Yeah, no problem with that. It's the same thing, isn't it? Are you using this chair? Is anyone sitting here? That's what I'd say personally. Is anyone sitting here? Yep. It is even okay, to say, "Oh, do you mind if we use this?" To be honest with you, what people normally say is they kind of stand up, go to the chair, and they say, "Do you mind?" And then the people sitting down go, "Oh, no problem." And then you go, oh, "Okay." And you take the chair. So you don't actually finish the sentence. You just get to the chair and you say, "Oh, do you mind it? Do you mind it?" And they're like, oh, no, go ahead. And you go, "Oh." So there you go. That's the phrase. That's the functional language, everybody. "Do you mind if..." "Oh, okay." Yeah. "Do you mind if..." And they say, yeah, okay. And then you say, "Yes, what I meant is, do you mind if you guys buy me a drink?" And you just said, "Yeah, so go on, buy me a drink." All right. Okay, moving on. Now we get to our super fun. I'm going to show you lots of ways of saying that you don't like fish and chips. Does anyone like fish and chips in the chat? Does anyone in the chat dislike fish and chips? Those greasy, horrible, slimy, heavy English food with bad quality fish. Can be lovely, actually. I'm just joking. Fish and chips can be so nice. So, does anyone dislike fish and chips? Here are some ways to say that you don't like fish and chips. And I've just noticed the lady I've used in the picture, is she wearing just like underwear? That was not deliberate. I just got that off Google. I said large fish and chips. Anyway, so I would like to put the phrases in order of politeness, starting with the most polite and going down to the most impolite. So starting with the most polite and going down to the least polite. So put those in order. So Days and Tamara don't eat fish, but then loads of people love fish and chips. Fish and chips can be great, can't they? Especially when the batter is crunchy and the fish is flaky. And the chips are chips. Can be great. You can use the letters. So just put the letters in order. Put the letters in order. So H, A, C, bum, 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 bum. Put the letters in order, starting with the most polite. And I'll give you about 3 minutes. It's kind of weird. I get notifications about my own stream starting. It's to the email address that owns the stream. What's all that about? Anyway. Yeah, polite first. So start with the most polite. Which one of these is the most polite? And going down to which is the least polite. Once again, we shall have this task. Order the phrases from polite to least polite, or from polite to impolite. Something like that. Chips should go with ketchup or gravy. Well, Ashley, in the south of England, fish and chips goes with salt and vinegar, and that's it. In the north of England, fish and chips goes with salt and vinegar and gravy. and sometimes mayonnaise in some parts, but certainly gravy in the north. In the north, fish, chips, and gravy. In the United States, then chips pretty much always goes with ketchup. And actually, to be honest, in the United States, they don't really have chips. They have French fries or curly fries. Curly, oh, forget it. They have curly fries and French fries, don't they? Or freedom fries. So they're thinner. Chips taste best with ketchup. The problem with ketchup, Daisy, ketchup is very nice, but it's kind of overpowering. So, yeah, most chips, I think, they do taste best with ketchup. But if you get some really, really good chips, then maybe you don't want to use ketchup because you miss, like, the really good, crunchy tastiness of the chip, right? But you can have bad chips with anything. You can have ketchup with any kind of chip, and it's good. Because, to be honest, ketchup tastes nice with basically everything, doesn't it? It's sugar and tomato. That's a tasty combination. You put concentrated tomato and sugar and put it with anything, and it's nice. Daisy hates the taste of mayonnaise. Yeah, that's a Asian thing, isn't it, I suppose? I don't know. All right, here come your answers for this one. So, most polite, we have A or H. And then after that, we've got G, E, and D. They're about the same. Then we've got F, then B, then I, and then C. So that's more or less my order. You don't need to have the exact order. That's just more or less the order, polite to impolite. Okay, our next phrase is, Ginger, what's the problem? Come here. That's not our next phrase, but here's my cat. He's being a problem, isn't he? He's being a problem. Coochie. Come on, Sausage. You know what his problem is? You know why he's upset? You upset, Sausage? You know why he's upset? Because it's raining outside, and he's come to complain to me that it's raining. Isn't that right? Oh, he's soaking wet, and he's getting it all over my desk, and now he's going on my keyboard. Okay, next, the phrase is, I have a question. I have a question. So, what are polite and impolite ways of saying, I have a question? What are polite and impolite ways of saying, I have a question? I'm going to show you a list again, and I'd like you to put them in order, starting with most polite, going to least polite, starting from most polite, going to least polite. And the phrase is, I have a question. Or I have some questions or something like that. Tamara, I have 72 cats. Isn't that right, Ginger Ginger? I've got 72 little kitties. Coochie, coochie, coochie. Oh, the little kitty. Look at the little kitty. So cute. Coochie, coochie, coochie. I've got 2. Domenico says, I'm going because I've got other fish to fry. I need to get in the zone for the speaking session. All right, then, Domenico. You seem to study English like 24 hours a day. All power to you, sir, and good luck. So I'm looking for the phrases to be in order, A to H, which is the most polite and which is the least polite. So which of these phrases do you think is the most polite for asking a question, saying, I have a question, and then which is the least polite? So the most polite is, listen, what's this about? What's all this about? Listen, what's all this about? What the hell are you talking about? What the hell? What the hell are you talking about? Oi, oi, you kitty cat, what's all this about? Oi, Ginger, what's that all about? Okay. Right. How are we doing? So GBFDCHA. Let me have a look. That's pretty close. Pretty close. Let me show you guys what I've got. I'm not scaring my cat Nipper. He doesn't care. He's totally ignoring me. Aren't you Ginger? Little sausage. Look at the little sausage. Totally ignoring me. Coochie coochie. This is what I have. So, would it be possible to ask a quick question? May I take a moment to ask something? I've got a slight query. Can you answer this? I've got a question here. Listen, what's this about? This makes no sense. What the hell are you talking about? So, there you go. That's the super polite to impolite. Isn't it, Ginger? Yes, it is. Yes, it is, isn't it? Coochie coochie. Yes, it's so polite. Coochie coochie coochie. Yeah. If you want to practice the pronunciation, I'll just do that again a second. So we've got, would it be possible to ask a quick question? Donk. Okay, just give me 1 second. I really need to sort this out, don't I? I know I can do this. Ah, got it. Well. Okay. Oh. Oh. Ah. Kind of. You see what I'm doing here? We're going for mouth cam. All right. Ah, okay. Is it like that? That's kind of. This is more or less what we're after. Yes. Aha. Okay. We have it. Mouth cam. So a bit of pronunciation. Would it be possible to ask a quick question? Would it be possible to ask a quick question? May I take a moment to ask something? Sorry, may I take a moment to ask something? Yeah, sorry. I've got a slight query. Gingy, I've got a slight query. And we'll leave it at that because we are practicing politeness, not impoliteness. So we are now going to move on to my favorite. It's the boxing glove with the flowers. I put them in the thumbnail, so they have to be in the lesson, okay? This is not clickbait. This is real reveal. So once again, can you put the phrases into the correct order? And the phrase is, I have some flowers for you. And I want you to order the alternatives of this from polite to impolite. Very polite. See, I'm filling this one in because it's in the thumbnail, so I kind of want it to be, you know, like a thing. When you sort of click on the thumbnail, you see it, and, you know. Gotcha. All right, so from very polite to very impolite. Hello, Dr. Archu. You really do prefer the later ones, don't you? It's kind of 4 p.m. plus for you in UK time. So you can just type the letters. You can, of course, type the whole sentences if you want. Daisy's just like, boom, I've done it. What now? Pretty good, Daisy. I think that's pretty close. I'd pretty much accept that. See, of course, the thing is that there is no 100% correct answer for this. There is some slight variance where it's difficult to say exactly which one is more polite and depends on the intonation and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway. I'll give you 2 more minutes, give everyone a chance to have a go, and then we'll have some feedback. I hate when people say, here, flowers, happy? It's like they've been pressured to give girls flowers. Daisy, when has anyone said that? Like, I can't even imagine someone, like, being that rude, as in, here, flowers, happy? Happy now? Here's your flowers. You happy? I mean, it sounds pretty bad to me. Like, why even buy flowers if you say that? Are we ready? Most polite. I'm going to go with F. These flowers are just a small token of my deep appreciation for you. Then after that, we will go for G. I've got a little surprise for you. Flowers. And then I'm going to go for E. I brought these flowers for you. And then we'll go for C. I got you some flowers. And then we're going to go for B. Here, flowers. Happy? And then we're going to go for A. I have these. I don't know why. And then finally we've got D. Got these. So you might cheer up for once. Yeah. He said, see, I got flowers. My job is done. Oh, dear me. Yeah, that's sad, isn't it? It's difficult to have a successful marriage and relationship, though, you know. It's hard work, and it's best not to judge people. You don't know their situation. Anyway, that is the order that I have here. So I think we'll do a bit of pronunciation. So with this, I would recommend that you listen and replay the sounds in your head while you listen, and then try to say the sounds. And actually, you don't need to even see the words when you do this, because actually it's better to focus on the sounds instead of the words. Okay? But it could be good for us to have something on the screen which says like pronunciation time. So let's have something on the screen that says pronunciation time. And yeah, okay. That's great, isn't it? Actually, it's awful, but okay. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. So, you know, professionalism is not built in a day. Right, there we go. All right, pronunciation time. Okay. So remember, the idea is listen, replay the phrase 1, 2, 3 in your head, and then say it. Oh, this is difficult. I've got something for you. I can't even do that. This is it's too much for me. It's too much. These flowers are just a small token of my deep appreciation for you. I feel like I'm proposing. These flowers are just a small token of my deep appreciation for you. Okay. Okay, next. I've got a surprise for you. Flowers! Got a little surprise for you. Flowers! Yeah, that's a good one. Let's go with G. I feel good with G. F is like, too much. G is like, okay. Right, E. I brought some flowers for you. Oh, it's these, isn't it? I brought these flowers for you. Ashley says, so cringy. You know, do you want to know the story of this phrase? What happened? Everything's gone crazy. Okay. So, do you know why this I have flowers for you is in the lesson today? Kind of a weird story. So, I asked ChatGPT to come up with some interesting contrasting thumbnails to class topics, and it told me to do a class on how to be polite with a boxing glove giving flowers in the thumbnail. Then I used artificial intelligence to generate a photograph of a boxing glove giving flowers. And then I was like, oh, how do I put that in a lesson about politeness? So that's why this cringy phrase is in today's class, and no other reason whatsoever. Right, any questions, anybody? So now it's your turn. I want to see what you can do. This part of the class is what we call practice. I want you to make these phrases more polite. And just let me delete that one because it's totally wrong. So make these phrases more polite. Look at the phrases. Give me that book, for example. And if we want to make the phrase, give me that book, more polite, then we could say something like, could you pass me that book, please? Could you pass me that book, please? Yep, very similar to what Daisy put there. Very good. Can you please pass me that book? It's good. Can you hand me that book? Good. Excuse me. Pallavi, what's your favourite flower? Teacher. Jesus. I really like sunflowers. And I really like poppies. Love poppies. Poppies, sunflower. Poppy is such an English flower as well, I think. Poppy, because it's like an English name as well. Lots of girls in the 70s were called Poppy and before. Sunflower, poppy. What else? That's it. I don't like any of the flowers. I don't know. I like flowers in general. How often do you give flowers? Like never. Like almost never. I've given flowers like 6 times in my life. So anyone who gets flowers from me, it's a massive thing. In British English, if you just add bloody to any sentence, could it instantly change the sentence from polite to impolite? No, not necessarily, Anawat. Bloody doesn't have to be that. Well, is it? Let me think. Could you please pass me the bloody book? I guess that does make it more impolite. Not necessarily the idea of the word bloody, though. Because I might say, like, this food is bloody awful. But, I mean, is that really more impolite than saying, this food is absolutely awful? What's more I don't know which is more impolite. This is bloody awful. This is absolutely awful. It's the same thing. So I don't know about that, actually. But the word bloody is not particularly polite. And maybe it's not possible to say something polite with the word bloody. Oh, yes, it is. It is. Anawat, thank you so much for your bloody brilliant question. That's polite, no? Thank you, Anawat. That was a bloody brilliant question. You can be polite with the word bloody. How about that? The work that you have done for our company has been bloody brilliant. Yeah. Whoa, I just realized that I'm actually I'm actually coming out of my speakers as well. Can you hear? Are you getting an echo with that? Turning it off. Only just realised. I don't think we got an echo though. So we got some interesting ideas. Let's see what we've got in the chat. You don't like rose, says Pallavi. Red roses are really nice, but they're kind of for girls, no? I mean, you give the red rose to the girl. I feel like as a guy, I should like, I don't know, poppies because they're kind of cool with the opium thing, and plus they're red and cool, and like sunflowers because they're cool. And, okay, so Daisy, I don't want to hear it. And Daisy said, sorry, I'm not in the mood to hear what you're saying. It's good, that, Daisy. You know, I'm going to do mouth cam for these because we got some really good suggestions in the chat. So, yeah, it's pronunciation time, everybody. Okay, so here we go. Daisy, what was it? Number 3. Don't want to hear it. Polite version. I'm sorry, I'm not in the mood to hear what you're saying. Great. See what else we got. Number 4, Daisy says, so number 4 we got move. So Daisy said, could you please get out of my way? I'm not sure about that, Daisy. Yeah, the phrase "get out of my way" is kind of a bit, yeah, not sure about "get out of my way." I think it's impossible for that to really be polite. It's like you're annoyed if you say "get out of my way." So I think, could you please let me by? Or could you please let me past, is the way I would say it. So that's for number 4. Sorry, could you please let me past? Or sorry, could I just get past? That's what I say. Could I just get past? Could I just get past? Could I just get past? Right, let's have someone else. Who else we got? Richard the Lionheart says, good afternoon. Behold, I am king. Hello there, Richard the Lionheart. Welcome to pronunciation time. I might not be a perfect candidate to work with you. So number 9, don't want to work with you. I might not be the best person to work with you. Still sounds kind of bad, but at least it is polite. Or maybe I'm not the ideal person for this project. And English for today says wobbly bobbly bobbly. So, English only in the chat. I'm sure you're saying something very nice, English for today, but I'm sorry, we have to say English only. So, do I know you, Mr. Rich? Says Richard the Lionheart. I don't know. Who are you and what do you want? We're learning English. May I come in? Says English for today. You're here already. Do we have any other comments about these? Could you budge a little bit? That's not bad, Daisy, but that also is something you'd say to a friend, really, to say, could you budge? Think about being like on the subway and it's like a stranger. Are you going to say, could you budge a little bit? Not sure about that. Are you the King of England? Not sure I like where this is going. There's only one troll in this stream, and that's me. No, I'm not. I'm not the bloody King of England, all right? I'm an English teacher, so deal with it. All right, so that has been pronunciation time, and that's been our lovely class today on politeness. In my humble opinion, you are not in the same league as me. Is that polite? What are we doing? Oh no. Why are you zooming on your face? Because it was pronunciation time. So you can watch the mouth and listen to the sounds and try to repeat the phrases with the pronunciation, all right? That's why. All right. Oh, Jesus. All right, everybody. So you can download the notes from today at bit.ly/politerich. bit.ly/politerich. That's notes from today. So if you want the notes from today, it's all about politeness. And now questions about the chat, and then we will go over the homework from last week. Thank you very much. Would you like to rule over my kingdom? Yes, Richard Lionheart. But I think you do a better job than me because I'm no king. I'm an English teacher. And I think Richard the Lionheart was a pretty good king, except he spent most of his time fighting the Crusades. By the way, everybody, while we're here... Oh, there's the homework. While we're here, you should join our English Learners chat because it's really cool. Okay, free English Learners chat in Skype. Join now. Okay. There you go. You should definitely join that. What questions we got, everybody? Tamara says, are you feeling better, teacher? Yeah, you were sick or something last time. No, what happened, Tamara, was, you know what? I'm going to go bigger for this. Can I go bigger? Hang on, I'm going to go bigger. Isn't it great how I just do random stuff like during stream? It's really great, isn't it? Just do random things, you know. Should really do this off stream, but okay. Oh, God. What did I want to say? Jesus. I wanted to say, someone asked a question. Oh, Tamara, about being sick. I wasn't sick. I did a workout and felt dizzy because I worked out too much and I didn't eat. And then I had a coffee and then I come on stream and suddenly I was like, oh God. But after about an hour, I felt okay. And actually today I feel great. I just had a bike ride and that's why my face is a bit red. But I feel good. I feel real good. Why didn't anyone recognize me? It sounds like Pavia. Are you making new accounts, Pavia? You're talking like Pavia. Nipa says, are you on a diet? I'm always on a diet. But now I have stopped drinking alcohol. So now I actually will lose weight, even though... yeah. And that's it. Done with it. Okay, I understand it wrong then in the last stream. Yeah, I mean, I felt bad. I felt sick. I felt like I was going to be sick, but it's from working out, not from like ill. It sounds like Pavia to me, but okay. But that's okay. Pavia's having fun. Questions. How much coffee do you drink? Loads. Because now I'm not drinking alcohol. And when I don't drink alcohol, my coffee consumption goes... It's just, I'm coffee mad. You can probably tell I'm kind of coffee mad. It's like my head's about to explode. This is my 4th cup of strong coffee. And I mean strong coffee. Strong coffee. Yes, drinking coffee makes you a normal person like me. Do the other English teachers do this as well? Right. No questions then. So anyway, what about water? That's a good question, Daisy. What's water? Let's move on. So we had the homework from last week. May well remember. Lovely homework. Very interesting. I decided to give you an academic task, and the task was to find an academic article by one of the people, read part of their work, and then record yourself giving a summary. And I got 6 entries for this. So we are going to listen to these people giving their summary. And I have no idea what articles they've done. Some learners sent me the article and some didn't. So who knows? We're going to listen together. I'll have a listen to the English a little, but I want you guys to listen, and I want you to listen, what is each article about and who makes the clearest summary. And if you want to be really clever, then you can try to make notes on the things you hear from each of the students. Julia says she also sent me it yesterday. 1 second. Okay, I've got it. No, wait, what's this? No. Do I have it? Did you send me email, Julia? I don't have it. I do not have it, Julia. Don't have it. Don't have it. Checking my spam. Was it email? Because I don't have it. I think you should check. Because I have your email address as well, and I do not have your homework. It doesn't matter if you send homework or Skype or email. English for Today says I sent you an email yesterday. Is your name on the list, English for Today? If not, then I don't have it. If your name isn't on the list, I don't have your homework. And I don't know where it is, because it's not in my spam. So, I don't know. Thank you very much, Richard the Lionheart. Stick around, smash that like button. Let's have a listen. So first, we're going to listen to Anawat. I want to know, what is the article about? And write any notes you have while you listen to Mr. Anawat. Are we ready? Let's go.
Ring, ring. Hello, Teacher Rich. How are you doing? I'm great, thank you. Oh, the other day I came across with a fascinating article. I can't put it down. I read it in one sitting and I like to share this article with you. The researchers of this article, they try to find the best way to learn English idiom for intermediate learners by using verbal mnemonic tools, grouping idioms, stories, and conceptual metaphor. They divided 90 students, 90 students into 3 groups. Each group was taught idioms using one of the verbal mnemonic tools. First grouping idioms. They just learn idioms related to happy, anger. For example, over the moon, on top of the world, on cloud 9, etc. The second group, learning through stories. The teacher chose the stories that contained the target idioms and narrated to the students. The last group, conceptual metaphor. The concept is to describe one thing with another thing, like love is a journey, time is money, something like that. The indicator they use to evaluate the results are recognition of the idiom and recall of the idioms. The results showed that the story group achieved the highest score in recognizing idioms. Yes. While the conceptual metaphor group obtained the highest score in recalling idioms. Interestingly enough, the grouping idioms group obtained the lowest scores on both indicators. At the end of the day, I think this article might...
Sorry, I just want to listen to that again because it's actually really interesting. I'm just going to listen to the last little bit.
Recall of the idioms. The results showed that the story group achieved the highest score in recognizing idioms. Yes. While the conceptual metaphor group obtained the highest score in recalling idioms. Interestingly enough, the grouping idioms group obtained the lowest scores on both indicators. At the end of the day, I think this article might pave the way for both intermediate English learners and teachers to find the best tool to learn idioms with suitable advanced pedagogical techniques. So, what are your thoughts on this? I'm curious to know.
Okay, that was really interesting. So the topic there, if you got, was learning idioms, and there were 3 groups and they used 3 different techniques. I believe one group was conceptual metaphor, which actually I was focusing on the English, not the meaning, so I didn't quite get what that was. Number 2 was stories, and number 3 was just grouping idioms together. And grouping idioms together, they performed the worst, but the conceptual metaphor performed the best. Conceptual metaphor meaning the elephant in the room, and then you have a picture of the elephant in a room. Is that right? Is that the conceptual metaphor, Anawat? That performed the best. The story was the second best, and then the last one was the grouping them together. I think that's right. Right, Anawat? Really interesting article. And I love this kind of article. Yeah, I've got it, Daisy. Thank you, Julia. I've got it 3 times, and I will include you. Okay. Congratulations, you get to be last. Thank you. But you're on there. So we had study comparing different ways of learning idioms. Was Anawat really interesting, and we'll talk about some language corrections at the end. I've got some little notes made. English for Today says, "Where is my name?" English for Today. Could you send me some? Who is this person? Can you send me the email again, please? English for Today. Send it to professorrich@gmail.com. Okay. Send me an email because I don't have it. So send it again. Thank you. English for Today. All right, let's move on to Miss Daisy. So once again, question: what is the article about? Write in the chats and listen for the information. You've got stiff competition, Daisy, because I really enjoyed listening to the article that Anawat talked about.
This is a summary of the article named Paths for Improving Listening Comprehension by Stephen Question. In this article, they present two paths for improving listening comprehension, namely in class and in native-speaking countries for an adult English learner, which has a high level of reading comprehension but doesn't live in an English-speaking environment. According to their research, even though they have a wide range of vocabulary and perfect grammar, they still struggle with understanding spoken language because they lack phonological skills. After identifying the root cause of students' listening problems, the article provides two possible paths for improving listening comprehension. In Path A, they suggest teachers to provide oral comprehensible input such as stories and visual context to teach beginners. After the students improve over time, use recreational reading before giving them the opportunities to discuss their personal interests in English academically. In Path B, they suggest the students to reside in English-speaking nations in order to be fully immersed in English. Preparation for Path B might include strategy instruction, which involves comprehensible input in real world and exploits their knowledge in their native language. Due to the fact that Path B usually happens unintentionally. Its impacts on listening comprehension and potential comprehension in listening based on their reading comprehension have not been seriously considered in the field of language.
Okay, that was another super interesting one. I didn't quite get the conclusion though, Daisy. I'm not sure if you actually said the conclusion, but you spoke about how students who learn only through reading have some phonological difficulties, and then there was a couple of groups, the second of which was involved in immersion. And actually, I missed what the first group was. And that actually sounds like a very interesting thing to consider, actually, because a question for a lot of people is, should I go and study in an English-speaking country to improve my English? And of course, doing that is very expensive. So it is a big question of, is that an effective way to learn? I think we know it is an effective way to learn, but how does it compare to other possibilities that might be a lot cheaper? So it is an important question. And I see the conclusion is vague. Yeah, unfortunately, it is a lot of academic studies are like that, because, you know, you have to do academic studies as part of a master's or as part of a thesis, but getting funding to do a comprehensive study is incredibly difficult. So Daisy basically read about strategies, we'll call it strategies to overcome the phonological difficulties faced by students who have primarily learnt through reading, something like that, and specifically talking about living in an immersive environment. Krashen loves his immersive environment. He's massive about that. I mean, he's almost at the point where he thinks if you go and live in another country, you will magically learn the language no matter what. He is wrong about that. As great as Stephen Krashen is, immersion is not sufficient to learn the language without necessity, because you can be 95% immersed in another language, but if you still got your 5% little group of your own language, you can get by and never learn the language that you're in. And if you want proof, go and speak to millions of English people living all over the world, few of whom ever really learn the local language. They are immersed, but the local people always just know enough English that you don't really need to learn if you don't want to. So there's a bit more to it than that, but it's fantastic. Really, really great. Yep, that was absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Daisy. Why does everyone have the thingy logo? Everyone doesn't. Just the moderators. Don't say anything bad about them. They'll ban you forever. Okay, moving on to, do I have an email from English for Today? No, English for Today, I don't have an email from you. So if you want me to look at your homework, you have to send it now. We're moving on to Elena. Where is this? Okay, so once again, we're listening for what was the topic, and you can make notes, and I will talk about the errors at the end. Okay, so let's have a listen. Elena.
I read a part of the book Summer Reading Program and Evidence, written by Faye H. Shin and Stephen Krashen. This part was dedicated to the program about summer reading. They investigated children's reading over the summer and explained results of this program. The children got a number of books they had to read. The results were discussed in class, and the children wrote some novels by themselves. They wrote novels about themselves or their friends. They found this task very funny. And in school in fall, they were tested on vocabulary, and their scores were better than they were tested in spring. I found this part of the book very interesting. I think reading over the summer is very important for children. It can expand their horizons and educate them. I like reading too. Thank you very much.
Well done, Elena. That was very, very interesting. So, we had children's summer reading, and children had to read a novel over the summer, and then this is the part I love. Then they write a novel about themselves and their friends. Oh, that is fantastic. That is my kind of language learning task. So language input, and then personalized output. Personalized even more, because not only is it input output, but the novel that they're writing is about themselves and their friends. So it's more personalized. Children love that. Children love to write about themselves and their friends. So that's a really lovely task. Interesting with the study, though, is it seemed to just be a case study. It wasn't like an academic study where you have different groups. So there was no control group. So Elena said basically that their vocabulary scores improved, but maybe their vocabulary scores would improve anyway. There's no control, right? So you need a control group, and there was no control group. So the problem with the study, but otherwise really interesting. This was a great homework task, wasn't it? Fantastic, really interesting. Eleanor's did not sound German to me, but okay, maybe. I still don't have an email from English for today, unless you are Eleanor. I don't know. Anyway, thank you. I guess Eleanor is not here in the live chat, but hopefully she will see this. Well, I'll email her anyway and say, hello, you sent me this. Here's the correction. Not correction. The feedback. Right. Julia. Wait, no, it's not Julia. It's Manuel. Okay, Manuel Gordillo. Okay, everyone, brace yourself. Hold on to your seats. We're about to take off and go up to 300 miles per hour or faster. Light speed with Manuel Lightspeed Gordillo, as I call him. All right, let's have a listen.
Well, this is my opinion about the homework the Professor Rich is talking about. The article, the different writer in the last lesson. Well, I'm talking about for our fellow pair was always very worry about. Hey, I am burning out with the English. Well, there is I have a look. I read article about the Under Erickson, professor of psychology in Florida State University. Well, to be an expert, we need 10,000 hours. The rule of the 10,000 hours for everything. For being an expert in music, chess, medicine, sport, love, of course, love. And he researched that serves the basic for the now widely popular even 10,000 steps for our health. I think that looking for the internet, that's the five principles that's important to follow. The five principles to deliberate practice: find the best perform do. Okay. Second, develop a detailed plan to get outside of your comfort zone. Okay. The third, develop a right mental representation for regular focus practice session, and later the fifth, feedback in the moment. Well, how long does it take to accrue 10,000 hours of practice? Was working 8 hours a week for 48 weeks a year. The 10,000 hour mark is reached to the mere 2.6 years. To be an expert, sometimes you need 8,000 or the average is 4,000. So, what is the fuss about them? There is catch the 10-hour rule. Practice time must be deliberate to focus on the learning in particular skill. What are the 4 steps that the doctors say for deliberate practice? Simply, really, set a stretch, goal, fair, range, and refine. That's say growth is only possible if this process is constantly repeated. You have probably heard that this 10,000 hour rule, but really the difference in the traditional and the purposeful practice is something like, well, what if it wasn't true? It's just liar. I think that what is the research, it is based on actually say something very different, something that sometimes got lost in translation. Okay, so instead of complain, have a look, this book, the 10,000 rule. Okay.
All right, so Manuel was talking there about the 10,000 rule. The 10,000 rule is a very, very famous idea that comes from Anderson Ericsson, who proposed that to master any skill, you require 10,000 hours of, and I forgot exactly how he calls it, but it's something like productive practice. Manuel actually did say the term, but I can't remember. It's like productive practice or focus practice or something. And he has these 4 principles for productive practice, which are instant feedback, focus, blah, 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 whatever else it is. So Anderson Ericsson, very, very famous for talking about that. Sometimes it's called 10,000 hours to mastery. That's how I've heard it. And I've heard this idea since the 90s. So this has been around for a while. And he talks a lot about motivation and how to, because it's 10,000 hours. That's a long time. So obviously you need that motivation to continue. And what I talk about often is sustainable practice. Because if you're going to do this, it's got to be sustainable, right? So, yeah, brilliant stuff from Manuel. Classic thing with Manuel is that sometimes I feel like I miss the conclusion. Like, sort of, it was kind of like his information, and then I always expect there to be like a point, and then it doesn't quite. I don't quite get it, and then I kind of miss it. So yeah, I think I would like to hear some sort of reaction. I think it sounds like I want Manuel to be like, what do I think about this? I think it's this or that. But anyway, brilliant stuff from Manuel and a fascinating article. Well explained. Let's move on then to Mr. Vladimir. So once again, you can listen. And I want to know, what is the article about? Okay.
I found an overview by Jean-Marc Devaille, The Flowering of Positive Psychology in Foreign Language Teaching and Acquisition Research. Positive psychology interventions have been carried out to aid learners and teachers experience of flow, hope, surmounting obstacles, courage, well-being, optimism, creativity, happiness, grit, resilience, strength, and laughter with the aim of enhancing learners' linguistic progress. Functions of positive emotions are following. Positive emotions tend to broaden people's attention and thinking, leading to exploration and play. Positive emotion helps to undo the lingering effects of negative emotional arousal. Positive emotion is to promote resilience by triggering productive reactions to stressful events, such as improving cardiovascular recovery and making silent feelings of happiness and interest while under stress. Positive emotion promotes building personal resources such as social bonds built by smiles, intellectual resources honed during creative play. Positive emotions can be part of an upward spiral toward greater well-being in the future. 347 Year 9 students to language arts classes were assigned to write down 3 good things that happened each day for a week. Positive emotion B. Engagement with activities that use one's character strengths. E. Developing positive international relationships are finding meaning by serving a cause beyond oneself. M. And recognizing areas of accomplishment and achievement. A. Perma could be compared to a luxuriant English garden in full bloom. There's a book called Emotional Roller Coaster of Language Teaching that helps for a better understanding of complex working of learners and teachers' minds and hearts, like a commercialized photo album.
Okay, rather an abrupt ending there, Vladimir, but this was a real tough article, which I think you've chosen. So this essentially was about positive psychology in foreign language teaching and acquisition. So in other words, research. So research in foreign language teaching, that's what I do, about positive psychology. But not only that, the article is written in what I consider to be a sort of postmodern way, and it's in a psychology journal, which, yes, it's Jean-Marc Doualier. So, he focuses on the kind of psycholinguistics and psychology related to applied linguistics. And it's written in not an easy way to digest. I've had a look at the article myself, and I have it right here. Now, let me just type actually what the summary of this is. So we're talking about looking at positive psychology. Oh, Jesus Christ, Rich, I can't even spell psychology because my brain's fried. You know when your brain just doesn't work? There we go. Positive psychology in foreign language acquisition. So we'll just call it language teaching research. A bit more to it than that. So it's about positive psychology in language teaching research. So effectively, we're talking about if we can make people feel good in some way, then that might help them to learn, basically, is what we're talking about. Now, that's fair enough. And obviously, I'm really interested in that. I prefer to talk about affective depth, which is just the depth of emotional involvement in something. And basically, the more emotional involvement that you have, the more you will learn and remember. Now, this just focuses on positive, but I actually think negative also can be an effective remembering tool. For example, if I tell you a really sad story, then probably you'll remember that as well. But let me read the conclusion of this to you, right? Because the conclusion of this article is confusing for me, right? So I'm going to read the conclusion. Listen to this. Providing a comprehensive overview of a field in full expansion is as difficult as trying to document the flowering of 1,000 flowers, bushes, and fruit trees in a country park in spring sunshine, armed with a single camera. Inevitably, the views will be influenced by the photographer's knowledge of the layout of the park and the actual journey through it. It will be further shaped by the photographer's predilection for certain spots and certain colours and certain contrasts between light and shade, for the presence or absence of water, of mist, of wildlife, or other visitors in the picture. Is that necessary? It's an academic article. Do you have to write your poetry in the bloody conclusion? Okay? It's already a difficult subject to understand. And then whoever's writing this has decided to go all arty in the conclusion. It's an academic article. It's not a poem. Okay? Bloody flowers and bushes and photographers. Sometimes academics just think they're so bloody clever that they decide to go off on one and write stuff like that. And they did title the article "The Flowering of Positive Psychology in Foreign Language Teaching." So they're trying to be really clever by using this analogy in the conclusion. It's too much. I don't want it. I just want to know what your research says. Okay. So well done, Vladimir, for taking that on, because that is by no means an easy article to digest. Well done to you. Difficult one. But yeah, the idea of positive psychology being used in teaching is fascinating. And of course, positive emotion absolutely helps people to learn. Right. Ings for today says 1 hour of live. Nope. 1 hour and 42 minutes. We are 18 minutes off this being a 2-hour live stream. Yeah, I can give you the link because good old Vlad gave it to me. It's in the chat. All right, let's move on to Zoya. There you go. All right, Zoya.
I have read an excerpt from the book How Languages Are Learned by Lightbound and Spada.
Lightbound and Spada! Oh, I'm excited.
It talks about the characteristics of an excellent language learner of a second language, and especially the myths and different researches. The first one is IQ. Many people believe that a student with a higher IQ has an advantage over a student with a lower IQ. But research has shown that IQ helps you in the grasping of the language and in the learning of grammatical structures. But it doesn't help you in the speaking practice. So a student with an average IQ, if put in situation where he can benefit from native speakers, good teachers, talking to peers, etc., can get excellent results in the learning of the language.
Oh, this was a real good one. Well done there, Zoya. It's my favorite of the topics chosen. And Zoya isn't finished. It's just I can't help myself. I have to comment. So she just said about IQ, and IQ, it does give you an advantage when it comes to learning grammar, vocabulary, and structures like that. But we often find that regardless of IQ, some people might learn communicative language faster than others. And I absolutely have found that in my experience, where I can have students who are not very academically talented. And when you give them the grammar tables, it's like you can see that their brain hurting, they're like, oh God, Rich, what is this? Right. And then, I say to them, hey, say this. What are you going to do next weekend? And then they say it back, just perfect. What are you going to do next weekend? Right? And then, like, the next day, they come into class and they say, like, hey, Rich, what are we going to do today? And then I hear them saying to each other, "You gonna have coffee? What coffee you gonna have? I'm gonna have a latte. Are you gonna buy one for me?" Right? Suddenly they're just using the phrases like straight away, not thinking about it, just using them, just like gonna this, gonna that, and yeah, there's some mistakes, but they just run with it, and some people they can just do that, and even if they're not academic. But if you are academic, there are advantages to that as well. So if you are a high IQ individual, then you can consume books and just improve your vocabulary that way and stuff like that. I love this topic. Sorry, Zoya, I interrupted you. Let's go back to how languages are learned, Lightbound and Spada.
The second one is aptitude. Aptitude is basically the ability to learn a language. This ability is measured, one, by the ability to pronounce sounds correctly, two, by the ability to learn the meaning of the words, the new words, three, the ability to learn grammatical structures, and four, the ability to learn and memorize new words. So it is considered that students who have these abilities can achieve great success in learning a second language. But the thing is that many such excellent students, excellent in their first language, have shown great difficulties in learning a second language. They have needed help for quite some time from good teachers who help them to overcome their difficulties. At the same time, there are students who are not excellent students at all, but have shown great abilities for learning languages, and even a few languages at a time. For example, one such American student has shown the ability to learn a few languages very quickly, being not excellent at all, being just an average student. But of course, these students, they fall into the category of exception and polyglots.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's really interesting to talk about exceptions and polyglots, something that I actually mentioned today in our Skype chat about a polyglot called Professor Argeles, who's an American chap who basically he knows parts of about 60 languages. He speaks 10 fluently. And he speaks about, sort of 20, 25 to a reasonable level. So absolute polyglot. And he learns in a way that I would never recommend to anyone, really. You have to be him, or you have to be like him, right? So what he does is he sits with a book in one language. He translates it to another language, and he works with grammar books and references to translate it accurately, and then he listens to an audio recording of the book, reads the book, and walks up and down on through a park saying the book out loud while he's listening to the audio. So, I mean, that is quite an interesting method, and it works for him. He knows 60 languages to some extent, and he knows like 25 to intermediate. But I'm not going to recommend that for most students. You have to be a really particular individual for that to work for you. So I guess an important part of that is just realizing there's no one size fits all. There is no best method for people learning languages. There are many different ways to get there. And I once said, all roads lead to Rome, but some roads are better for some people. And that's the question. The question is, you need to find the road that's better for you. Well done, Zoya. I really enjoyed that. That was Lightbound and Sparta, and it's a pretty famous book, How Languages Are Learned. It's a collection of research on acquisition of second languages, and it goes through lots of different things, the difference with age, difference in types of students, ways of learning. And if you really want to get into language acquisition, then it's a very good starting point. So great. Any comments? The link of her art. Yeah, that's a book, that one, Daisy. That's Lightbound and Sparta, How Languages Are Learned. It's a book which is a collection. It's like a review of research on the subject. Yeah, fantastic. Enjoyed that. And actually, it doesn't look like Zoya's even here to to comment, but or maybe she's just being quiet. And finally, then we go to Julia.
To begin with, there is bountiful and plentiful research confirming that we have the ways to navigate through 3 stages on the path to full outgrowth of literacy, which includes the acquisition of academic language. Alternatively, to say that the acquisition of academic language is part and parcel of it. The stages are listening stories, podcasts, doing a substantial amount of sub-selective reading, followed by reading for our own curiosity and enjoyment in our chosen specialization. Needless to say that the reader finds it highly engrossing and captivating at stage 2 and 3 particular. On the one hand, it is sort of specialized up to some extent. On the flip side, there is next to nothing effort to cover a wide range of the topic, and the bare minimum effort to say the least. The research confirms that the library, in particular school library, makes a substantial and vigorous contribution at all 3 stages. For many living in poverty, such as destitution and deprivation, and lacking in basic needs in general. In other ways, for those who are less fortunate, down and out, and not up to par the standard of living, it is the one and only particular designated location to find both for enjoyment, stimulating reading, along with the librarian serving as the guide on how to make the information, as well as supplier of gripping and absorbing reading. The expertise of certified librarians is of paramount importance and play the critical role of compelling reading in a foreign language, such as EFL worldwide and EELS in the US, and so do in children's heritage languages. Suffice is to say that the reader finds most of the elements are mesmerizing and absorbing at the end of the day, despite some minor weakness. On top of that, compelling, comprehensible input, academic language, literacy development, school of libraries, certified librarians, and poverty are key points in this content. The author name Stephen Christian and Janice Bland.
All right, so Julia there talking about an article which looked at language, the acquisition of academic language, and specifically looking at the role of the library, and in particular the school library, in contributing to the acquisition of academic language. And it outlined 3 stages, which were hearing stories, doing self-selected reading, and then followed by our reading of our own interest in a chosen specialization. I'm not quite sure what the difference is between stages 2 and 3, because they sound like basically the same thing to me. So again, this sounds like a really tricky article. You've chose a rather difficult one there. Well explained in language. What I would say there, Julia, is it sounds like you wrote it down first and then you read it. And I think that actually made your audio explanation more difficult to understand, because you wrote it first and then read it, rather than just trying to explain it using your language. So then it sounds like you're using sort of a lot of language from the article, which is not words that you are entirely comfortable with. So I think it would be clearer if you didn't read from your writing, but you just try to say it with whatever language you have. So another tricky subject, and we're going to call this academic language acquisition, or the acquisition of academic language. Interestingly enough, not necessarily about second language speakers, although EFL is mentioned. It also mentions reading in children's heritage languages. So it seems to be just talking about academic language acquisition in general. And we specifically had the 3 stages, which was hearing stories, then self-selected reading, and then reading your special interest. And it's interesting because I think I can kind of relate to that when I developed my academic language pre-university and then going to university, and very much hearing stories, listening to the lecturers talk about philosophy, then reading a lot of articles that the lecturers recommended, and then going and just finding my own articles that I was interested in philosophy and reading them. And then after all that, going to write an essay, and suddenly I find my writing is like 10 times better than it was before. And I'm like, oh, I guess that's all that reading I did. So it does seem like there's a very strong link between reading and writing, a link that perhaps is stronger than the link between listening and reading. And we have Sanjan coming in with a last minute submission here, and also Tamira as well. Yeah, you can send it if you want. I'm absolutely dying here because we've been streaming for 2 hours now, and I think I do need a break and some food. But yeah, we're gonna go with Sanjan. Yeah, Sanjan. I'm really hoping for a strong French accent. Jean, don't let me down here. Let's see what we got. Okay. Okay, let's have a listen. Once again, so we get our question here. I want to know what is the article about. So we're listening for the article, and make any notes that you wish if we wish to discuss the topic of the article after. Let's listen.
Okay, good morning everyone. My article is about unlocking the secrets of the universe, the quest for grand unification. So my name is Sanjan, and I will be doing the summary. Unlocking the secret of the universe, the quest for grand unification delves into one of the most significant and ambitious goals of.
Do you know what's making this a bit difficult? It's like the TV or whatever's in the background. Or is that me? Is that me speaking in the background? Did you record this just now? Yeah, that's making it a bit confusing, I have to say.
Modern theoretical physics. Achieving grand unification theory, the quest for grand unified theory, also known as the theory of everything, aims to merge the fundamental force of nature, gravity, electromagnetism, the strong nuclear force.
The force of nature. I love the French accent. It's fantastic. Mr. Jean, are you reading from a script? Sounds a bit like you're reading from a script.
The weak nuclear force into a single elegant framework. The article starts by explaining the current understanding of the four fundamental forces and their respective field of study. It outlines how they govern the interaction between particles from the macroscopic scale down to the subatomic realm. Despite the remarkable success of quantum mechanics and general relativity and explaining.
Okay, I'm getting so distracted by the fact that my own voice is playing in the background of your recording. But yeah, I think your speaking is great. Whatever article you chosen, the AI generated how the universe is made or whatever. Whew, that sounds like a tough one. Like talking about the subatomic particles and something like that. All right, next time choose a real article that's nice and down to earth so we can digest it, especially when I've been streaming for 2 hours and I can't do it anymore. I would love to have a further submission from you in the future, Sanjan. So Sanjan did Theory of Everything or something, article generated by AI. Right. Okay. That is it then, since there are no... Yeah, you just recorded it. I know. Yeah, the background sounds really made it difficult. But actually, I could understand you quite clearly. In fact, I think your pronunciation's good. But the nature of the article plus hearing myself speak over the top was making me dizzy. Right. Okay, so that is it, because no more people have emailed one in, and to be honest, I don't think I could manage it. If they did, do make sure that you join me on the 29th of July at 3 p.m. when I will be once again giving a free conversation class. Free? What? Why is it free still, Rich? I don't know. I guess I'm crazy. No, I'll tell you why. It's because I now have an unplanned last-minute holiday in August, which will basically last all of August. Now, I will still be streaming, but I can't commit to Conversation Club in August, and I don't want to start charging people money and then, I need to take a month off and it gets interrupted and whatever. So we're going to carry on with just a bit of free conversation class for now. Please do join us. We've had a great time. I've met lots of you. It's been really fun, actually, to put a face, or at least to put an audio to some of the people that I've seen on stream. And it's been interesting because some people turn up and I've never seen them in the chat. So it's like there's people that, have come in and they don't talk in the chat, actually, because they are using their YouTube name, but they just don't know. So hi to you people who don't talk in the chat. Yeah, Conversation Club, that's on Saturday. There will also be more streams this week. I'm going all out because, hey, it's August and it's school holidays and I got time. So I think we'll be having another stream on Wednesday and maybe one on Friday or whatever. I don't know. Hell, maybe we do one every day. Who cares, right? We'll do one every day. No, I don't know. I might do one every day. Depends how inspired I am to create interesting material. It takes quite a lot to come up with this stuff, Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody. We'll go back to questions for a little bit because, hey, I feel like it. Does anyone have any questions on their mind before we finish? It does seem to be over. Yeah, the people have disappeared anyway. I guess a lot of people are probably going to bed because I know that there's a lot of people in Asia who watch this. It must be pretty late now. Yeah, I want to say thank you, actually, to everyone who submitted homework. I think there was some excellent contributions, and it was really interesting. I mean, the articles were really fascinating to discuss. I did mention some error correction, didn't I? So, hey, okay, there's some things to look at. Some sort of grammar things that, well, if you want, then you can improve that language. So super minor issue that doesn't even matter. We don't say come across with, we just say come across. So I came across a fascinating article. The second group just learnt through stories. They found this task very funny. So with funny, no, it's fun. What is the difference with fun and funny? So fun means I enjoy it, and funny means ha ha ha. You're funny. Okay, so it's a difference between a good feeling and laughing, basically, is fun versus funny. So yeah, I found this task very fun. If you found it funny, that means it made you laugh. Okay. Whereas fun is like engaging and enjoyable. What if she wasn't true? She's a liar. So I'm not sure that she was the right pronoun. I think this was a pronoun slip. I think it should be he, or even it wasn't true. And it's a lie. But I wasn't entirely certain. There was definitely some sort of error here, and I think it was a pronoun mistake. Instead of complain, have a look at this book. So we have preposition. After a preposition, you always use ing instead of complaining. Have a look at this book. There you go. All right, so there's our error correction. That's especially for Domenico Lafauci, who wants more error correction always. So there's some error correction for you. But of course, we had a great time talking about those articles anyway. Albaro, by the way. Hello, hi, Albaro. How are you? Albaro, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué pasa? Hombre, ¿quiere tomar algo? ¿Qué vamos? Vamos al bar para tomar algo, una cerveza, algo así. Después, a lo mejor, una paella en el restaurante. Está muy bien. Okay. This is what happens. This is what happens when you stream for over 2 hours, isn't it? I agree, Manuel. Time flies. Blooming July. Thank you very much for joining me today, everybody. Have a lovely day. Enjoy yourself. Keep it up. And eat healthily. Do some exercise. Drink some water. And have a lovely evening and afternoon. And join the community and do all that stuff and whatever. And oh, God. Whew. All right. Anyway. See you soon, I guess. My voice. Maybe I can never stream again. Bye-bye. Whoa. Oh, no. Yes.